We Culture comes to you compliments Hoppers and Grenada Paper Products, manufacturers of Royal, Horizon, and Quick and Easy paper towels and napkins.
You can now send a gift card to your loved ones locally or internationally thanks to the food fair. Here's how it works. Click the gift card icon or banner. Customize your gift card by choosing from different templates, dollar amount, and personalized messages. You can also upload your personal design. Select Add to Cart and complete transaction. Allow relatives and friends to pick up an item or items at the food fair for the dollar value. Gift card. It's that easy.
When a loved one passes on, we all need the comfort, support, and guidance of a trusted friend. You can rely on LaCour Brothers Funeral Home. We provide a personalized professional service that exceeds all expectations. Our dedicated staff responds to your every need with the greatest detail, ensuring affordability with a variety of options. Our upgraded state-of-the-art facilities, spacious air-conditioned chapel with live internet streaming, a modern, environmentally safe crematorium, the only of its kind on island, private viewing spaces, large on-site repast center, a modern transportation fleet. Join our burial society today and make personalized arrangements for that final moment as you prepare to enter your loved one into eternal rest. Visit or call LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and select a package that brings added comfort to the entire family. LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and Burial Society, continuing a tradition of excellence.
The Grenada Broadcasting Network presents a new focus on health, a collective approach, March 22nd and 29th. The two-part series will focus on the main health issues facing our country and the approaches necessary to address them. A new focus on health, a collective approach. Remember the dates, Grenada. Mark your calendar, March 22nd and 29th.
Join GBN on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. for Interesting Grenadians, a program that showcases the lives of interesting and outstanding Grenadians at home and abroad. It's Interesting Grenadians every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on GBN. Don't you miss it.
Get ready for a season of grooving smooth and live on GBN. Grooving Smooth and Live is a 1-hour performance gig every Thursday from 8 p.m. featuring performances from our local musicians and short interviews discussing all things musical. Every Thursday, a different musician and a different instrument will be featured, from the violin to the saxophone to the trumpet, guitar, and steel pan. Our local musicians playing, improvising, and educating us on all genres of music. Join GBN with host musicians Matthias and Shireen and a special guest every Thursday at 8 p.m. It's Grooving Smooth and Live on GBN.
Raise it high up the ladder, let we set it on fire. A little more calypso, forget the funk and the disco. A little more limbo, a little more shango. Find the greasy pole, and we don't dance round the maple. Raise it high up the ladder, let we set it on fire. A little more calypso, forget the funk and the disco. A little more limbo, a little more shango. Find the greasy pole, and we don't dance round the maple.
and welcome to our Friday evening edition of We Culture. Yes, and it's a pleasure as always, and we are happy to have every one of you tuned in, our viewers on GBN Television Channel 711, our listeners on K105 FM, of course, our Facebook and YouTube friends. We welcome you, and we are indeed very, very pleased as usual to have you with us. Well, folks, you know, I am feeling really happy tonight because it look as Doc go get ball out. Look who is with me. Only Reece, how you doing, darling?
I'm a lone ranger tonight.
No. Me and you. Me and you.
Pleasant evening.
Yes, indeed.
I do feel a bit lonely, but you know, sometimes we have to trod our own path. Sometimes we have to be alone.
Of course. Sometimes
there are lessons within these things, you know. So we're just gonna embrace it tonight. If the king and the dog feel they took good for us tonight, that's okay. They could stay with it.
Of course, definitely. That's it.
What do you feel? We culture won't happen?
Well, maybe. We got loads of people out there who are just waiting. Actually, you know, last week we started our discussion on this very, very sensitive issue, and last week we ended up on quite an interesting note, and so we will discuss some aspects of it. I specifically, you know, I don't know how, well, if I should say cultural, but the whole issue of the young girls getting pregnant in school does have effects. You know, it does have effects. What happens after that? You know, there are stigmas, you know, all around. And of course, we heard positions where, you know, they should be allowed to continue. In fact, a lot of it, they should be allowed to continue and not, you know, be robbed of their education. There are also those who feel, look, that is big people business, and children don't have right in big people business. But there's also another question that can arise. What has caused that child to get involved in big people business? Have they been taught the right values? Have they been seeing the correct examples and all of that?
Have they been supervised?
There we go.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of questions, a lot of questions that needs to be addressed, and I think it can have significant bearing. Last evening there was a town hall meeting on the whole issue of reintegrating these children back into the school system. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend, you know, which was rather unfortunate. The timing was...
Many of us got to attend, so we were aware of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The time it was happening, I think it was from 7.
Yeah, actually 6. I think it was 6:30 thereabout. 6:30.
Right. It was not a good time.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't, and so I don't know much of what was discussed, but I do know it is a subject that has been given a lot of thought and consideration as to what the final outcome would be. I really don't know.
Yeah.
But you see, I want to.
Great though.
I want.
Great is a conversation is actually happening.
And this is where it has to start.
That's kind of like, you know, 75% of what needs to happening, that we are actually having a conversation about it. So it's now where we do the pros and the cons, and we look at, you know, what are the contributors and all of that, and have the goal of, you know, giving that young lady, that father, you know, and the child the best life possible, being able to pick up the pieces and not creating a scenario where you dub it as, you know, you got involved in big people business, so you are going to be punished for the rest of your life. You know, if you want to look at punishment in terms of hardship, just having the baby and having to be a mother at such a tender age is already in a way punishment for life.
Of course.
So we don't need to inflict more. We don't need to inflict more. We need to help.
I totally agree there, you know. But what are the options? Yes, there are. I mean, the big issue here to me is not robbing that child of an education, because the important thing that I think should be considered, when that child is robbed of the education, when they bring that other one into the world, what are they teaching that child? How are they going to supervise properly? How are they going to guide? What sort of guidance will they provide? You know, so there's a lot to be considered. And you know, I want to raise something here, Reece, and I don't know, people might think I'm joking an ant's nest, but I will raise it anyway, and I'm going to put it to you. I don't know what is your take on this whole issue, but
tread carefully, tread carefully.
I am. But I'll tell you this. There are many issues that sometimes we try to shy away from, when in truth and in fact they should be addressed and should be spoken about. And you know, whether it's yay or nay, I think the discussions should happen, and so hopefully the best result or the best outcome you know, can come out from that. And I'm asking myself, you know, the whole issue of a young girl, a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old getting pregnant in school, and there are a lot of stigmas that you have to deal with. Whether or not you're allowed to continue your schooling in that condition, yes, there will be support, but there will also be the shame that goes with it. You find all different types of people, and so there's a lot. And I am wondering here, Reece, within our education system, and I'm asking the question, what about the possibility of, you know, in an effort trying to help that child, what about consideration of state-sponsored termination? And when I say that, I want to make sure people understand me. I am speaking here of a proper medical surgical procedure. We know of a lot of things that happen. We know that it's part of it's out there. We know, and that's no secret. But I'm talking here, one, of eliminating dangers, ensuring that whatever has to happen in the best possible environment with professionals and people who understand what needs to be done, and so preventing that child from having to go through maybe in some cases the terror of teenage pregnancy. I don't know what's your take. You know, I'm putting the question out there, and you know, people may.
I don't know if I'm going to give my personal opinion on this. I don't know if I'm going to give it by the end of the show. But what I can say is that when you talk about the stigmas attached, in other words, all that we know that female is going to experience as a result of having a pregnancy is directly related to our society and how we think. How we think about what is big people business, what is little children business, what you're not supposed to do, what you're supposed to do. And as we would have discussed last week, there's a lot of confusion where that is concerned. For example, a teenager in school pregnant at the age of 16 is an abominable sin.
Yeah.
Okay? But she has the right to consent. So, you know, if we know what is considered school age, from what age to what age? And I think last week's scholar told us it was up to 21.
18. 18, yeah. A child up to 18.
I think it was something about 21.
21, I think, had to do with marriage.
No, there was something about school and 21. Legally, something on the books that you can be in school up to age 21, something like that. A scholar may clear it up for us.
Okay.
But if you are able, let's say it's 18. If you know that school age is up to 18 or up to 21, why is it that we are having laws that speaks to children being able to have consent? Children being able to give consent at the age of 16. But if the consequences of their actions come to life, you stigmatize them, you treat them badly, you take away all their rights as a child when it comes to their education, you put them out of school, you do all sorts of things to them while their body is going through this massive change, their mindset, they're wandering. Even their parents are feeling the brunt of it because they now have to be grandmother in a motherly way to the child plus the baby that is about to come, because technically they have to learn to become a mother now. You know, so when you have all these confusions, you know, what I'm saying, that this is a direct, all these things is directly you know, it's directly pointed at what is it our society thinks, how they look at things, how they view things, the biblical part of it, how it comes in, you know. So there's a whole lot of embarrassment there. And from what I gather that you're saying is, here's a procedure that if it's legal upon certain conditions, like age, the way in which you probably became pregnant, maybe it was statutory rape, and you know, or rape, or all these things. If you have a law in place that allows for a decision to be made for a pregnancy to be terminated at a teenage, while they're in school and all of that, I really see your point. We'll be saving the child who is pregnant, the father, provided that he's about the same age as the girl, and you'll be saving them. But then on the biblical side of it, you know, and we know how we are very much a Christian society, we're very conservative, you know, we're usually last to pick up on trends and all of that. I can really see the backlash. But I would go so far as to say that we probably have that happening, just not legal. We probably have that happening, just not legal.
Well, there's a lot of things. There are a lot of things that are happening. You know, and I guess it's not legal. But another question comes up: is it wrong?
and that's another thing. It depending on who is looking at it, who is discussing it, who it affects, how they view it will be different. Because a child might look at it as, I don't know, I'm confused, I really don't know, I'm afraid, I'm scared, and depend on a boyfriend or a mother or some senior person to make that decision for them, right? But then you might have the parents making the decision outright, and I mean, to me, it's a personal thing. It's a personal thing, and even if we're saying that children are not allowed to be in big people stuff and all that, and they are becoming pregnant, and we were supposed to do what it takes to take care of them because they're still a child. I don't know. Maybe the parents might feel that they have a right to make that decision as well.
Well, Scholar has joined us. Scholar, good night and welcome again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my lord, and my young lady.
Lawrence?
Lawrence.
You better apologize for why you're just showing up here.
Rough. No, well, tonight is a culture night. And me and Doc tell her that since last week.
Salaka?
Tonight is a culture night. Tonight is Salaka. Yeah. I just get me little food. Yeah, I can't even eat it good. I have to live and run. But Doc say he ain't running. So Doc eating and he playing the drum.
We understand.
We basically we were talking from last week's program, and I asked the question. We sort of looked briefly at some of the consequences of the whole issue of a schoolgirl having a child and all that has she has to go through. The question of when that child is born, or if who takes care of that child. So that young lady, 15, 16, is forced into motherhood. Who takes care of the child? Who nurtures the child? Who provides guidance for the child and all of that? And looking at a number of things, I asked the question whether or not state-sponsored termination is an option, and I made it clear that when I say that, I'm talking about a proper medical procedure. I ain't talking about people just going and do what they want and drinking all kind of funny thing and putting themselves at risk.
Godfrey, that would have to be a last resort, really, as far as I'm concerned. Because let me just say this, because there is a certain myth as it relates to teenage pregnancy and its incidences in this modern times. Yeah, the incidence of teenage pregnancy long ago was it was higher than now. I'm sure of that. I mean, when you hear all them old queen and so on, a lot of them make children at a very, very early age, little girl. All right. So let's get that straight. That it is not something that is, we're seeing it raise its head or it's out of control now. As a matter of fact, it is much less now, because if you look at the population of Grenada, I would contend that you have less women making children, whether it's little girl, whether it's big woman. I just the other day I see a pregnant woman and me had lip. And I go yesterday, me had lip. Because I don't know when I see a pregnant woman. Pregnant women is a dying and endangered species.
Well, no. Actually, the science has shown that by I don't remember the exact year, but by a particular period, world population will stabilize.
Well, yeah, but world population would stabilize, I would suppose, but I would contend that it might decrease, because it should stabilize when death rate, birth rate are basically equal. Yeah, but it seems now like the death rate gone and leave the birth rate. I hardly seen pregnant women. So I say all of this to say that for starters, because we are of our population size and so on, to bring in something like this would tend to diminish it even more. I always say to teachers, especially female teachers, they must make children, because they're endangering their own work, Because just now teachers might not have children to teach, and we see the population drops and so on at the primary level. You have primaries, and even at some secondary schools, barely have children. So it would have to be a very much a last resort. But I would contend to that based on if it is, then all of those things that Reece was speaking about then would have to come into play. You know, it would have to be, as Reece said, a personal choice, because I do not believe that every young girl who becomes pregnant, you know, would want to have this. Even if it's under strict medical supervision and so on. Medical in Grenada, quote unquote, is a funny thing. We're not speaking about some big countries where the medical and the health system is tapa, so you know that things are going to work out and be okay. I mean, we know what our medical system and our health system is like, you know. So all of these things we would have to consider and take into consideration before I believe something like this would even be thought about, you know, really. And so the thing is that I believe as a first resort, what we were discussing the other day, either you allow them people to make the young ladies to make their children and create a better support system, a social support system for when they make the child, you know.
Okay, great. So let's just take our first break, and when we come back, we're gonna look at some more sides of this, and then we're gonna definitely open the telephone and you know, hear from our listeners. So stay with us. We'll be back with you in just a moment, folks.
You can now send a gift card to your loved one locally or internationally thanks to the food fair. Here's how it works. Click the gift card icon or banner, customize your gift card by choosing from different templates, dollar amount, and personalized messages. You can also upload your personal design. Select add to cart and complete transaction. Allow relatives and friends to pick up an item or items at the food fair for the dollar value. Gift card, it's that easy.
We support you at every stage of your life.
For business,
For your education,
for your financial freedom,
for that new ride.
Upgrade your life with the Communal. Contact us today.
Here is a little known fact. There is only one place in Grenada that you can get an MRI scan done. That place is Spicile Imaging Center. Yes, Grenada, that's the truth. Other centers could offer you other scans, but Spicile Imaging provides an authentic MRI scan. Here's another little known fact. Spicile Imaging has 3 centers. We operate at Grenville, the Carnage, and at the Ocean House, Grandlands. We provide the widest range of laboratory tests and services. CT scans, x-rays, mammograms, ultrasounds, and a host of other services. We are fully staffed by a team of family doctors and specialists. Call us today at 444-7679 or 406-1500 or visit any of our 3 locations. Spicile Imaging, from seeing the doctor to getting lab tests, scans, and pharmacy services. We are here to take care of you.
The Nawasa app brings the power of Nawasa's customer service experience to you. Instant, conversational, and smart. Easy access anywhere. Get bill balance, transaction history for up to 6 months, report a fault, link to websites, view payment centers, contact information, push notifications, and multi-tenant accounts, all in a secure login platform. Like a self-service concierge app, mobile.nawasa.gd gets you the support you need much faster. Available on both Android and iOS platforms. Mobile.nawasa.gd, your customer support companion. Nawasa, committed to meeting customers' needs.
Level of convenience and comfort awaits you when you shop at Rise and Shine Supermarket and Hardware Supplies, Griffin Lane, Grenville. Convenient, because we are open Sunday to Sunday. We're even at your service on public holidays. Comfort, because we are easily accessible to the physically challenged. Free Wi-Fi is available while you shop, and bags come at no charge. Everyday low prices and excellent customer care. Adequate parking available. We supply everything you can possibly think of. Family and home supplies, fresh meat, vegetables, and personal care products. All brands of cooking gas at affordable prices. You can send in your order, have it pulled, or pick up express.
Say hello to Grenada's hidden gem, Mandela Court, a Grenadian-owned luxury boutique hotel tucked away in Lansipine. Our fully equipped suites are now complemented by an international standard restaurant and conference room. So whether you're having a formal business event, quaint garden wedding, or just a relaxed dinner for two, you can count on Mandela Court for that luxurious experience. Call today to book your viewing or reservation. We look forward to welcoming you.
Kindly greasy pole, and we don't dance on the maple. Kindly greasy pole, and we don't dance on the maple.
Welcome back. It's We Culture, and folks, we're opening our telephone line. It's actually open 435-2041. Now, Scholar and Reece, this week, well, after our last program, I was talking to someone about the same issue, and they made a very interesting comment to me, and they're saying, it's funny because when you look at the school system, quote unquote, the school curriculum and the way things are taught, or the way they teach children, the exams and all of that, it is different. And they say one of the reasons why you see that is because nowadays children have too much time. They don't have to study. And I was thinking, and it sort of took me back to, in my time, I did Cambridge, GCE. Now you had to study for essay questions, 5 essay. You have to do practical. You have to do all kind of thing. And he was making the point that, for example, nowadays, you give a child what they call a SBA scholar, and that accounts for, I think, is it 60% or so of the mark? I'm not so certain, but a significant percentage of the mark goes to that. And so the individual was saying to me, they figure all of these things and some of these changes needs to be relooked. I mean, as a teacher scholar, let me hear your views on it. I don't know if you did you did Cambridge as well.
Yeah, I did Cambridge. Mm-hmm. I did Cambridge, but I also did CXC.
Okay.
So I did a bit of both. I can tell you that when CXC started, CXC was as difficult and imposing and taxing on poor children just as Cambridge. Now, if we think about Cambridge as opposed to CXC, you just have to look at the number of subjects that children take, and you know definitely that you're seeing the disparity. One time, I mean, there was no way in hell that man could have do 14 and 15 Cambridge. You do that, you do that, you're dead. You can't make it. But CXC, as time went on, CXC evolved. And I have a feeling, I don't know what Cambridge looks like right now, but I have a feeling that even the Cambridge exams have evolved. You know, I don't know what it is like. I don't know if you have this project-based stuff and so on. But what they try to do, because let me tell you something, the problem with exit exams and so on, as they have them, is that you do the exams, but it does not help you with what you will meet in the real world. It does not say what you can do or anything, what you cram or what you think is what basically it tells you, right? And so what CXC tried to do and has tried to do is to give children experiences with different modes. So you have the one where you do projects and so on, because all these are important facets that as you continue your life, you know, you will have to engage in those things. Now the drawback in that is that, as you well know, there is hardly there is no system that is foolproof that can say that the child is doing the thing all alone, and it does not determine how much hand-holding or assistance that the child gets from somebody else who knows. So all of these have helped to thing. I mean, when you look, for example, at CXC English, I know children what can't string a two sentences together. And they get English, you know, and they get nice grade and so on in English.
So let me ask you, let me just stick up in there, let me ask you. So that way we don't say all this would have and thing out.
Well, boy, not for me. You are thinking you hate would have for me because I don't care.
I'm just asking. All right, go ahead.
You have to remember, but at the same time, I don't blame CXC crew, you know, because English is a foreign thing, you know. So you can't be expect
English can be fine, you said.
He and them to be more stringent with the whole thing, right? But we have to understand English is a foreign thing, so you have to, because one thing that CXC does, right? You know, Cambridge and thing, they say all subject is English.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you're doing science, you have to write good English. Whether you're doing anything, you have to write good English. But it doesn't for that. So,
right.
So they mark what's important. It's your science, not your English and all your thing, because the truth is that you ain't going to know nothing about English and be a good scientist. You see? So there are the pros and cons to the whole thing. But my main thing with PhD and is that PXC is what we can say is ours. As we think, whether easier, whether you want, PXC is ours, as opposed to this Englishman thing. And we were correct, I would say, to divorce ourselves from that. Even if the older fellas as me and you know, we have this kind of nostalgic thing for GC and we think GC and whatnot. But really and truly, GC is not with thing.
So let me ask you now.
And let me just finish up by saying that studies and research and so on have shown that our students who do PXC, that we say is an easy thing now, when they go overseas to England and all these places and there, with the CXC and thing, they excel. They excel.
Now, if you see, so here's the thing. What we the A levels that we did after we do with GC, like not Cambridge. The A levels at Cambridge.
11 is Cambridge, yeah.
So why we what is it that we have not developed a system yet to
we are Cape.
So Cape is okay. So Cape is the CXC version of
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know about them things. I didn't know about. I know about Cambridge. So, what about the foundation we got from this nice fella here?
I can't see what it is.
You got even you can see. Let me make sure you could see, man. You could see now.
Now we can see. When you put it so we can see.
The royal reader, man. The royal reader.
Right, we see it now.
What's about the good foundation we got there?
That copy that you have there is modern time copy. I have an older copy than that.
Yeah, I have some old hardcover kind of copy too. By Godfrey.
Yes, that one. That one.
Let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, first of all, we gained our independence, yeah? And just as how they displace the royal readers, so they should have displaced the royal jail and all this kind of thing at them as well. So, yeah. But they keep this thing at them and Queen Elizabeth this and Princess Alice what and not. Because the royal readers tell you that is English thing, right? But I always believe somehow that the royal readers was made for us, for the colonies, for children in the colonies to read. That is not for English people, the well-to-do and so on. Because the royal readers have some kind of, royal readers have nice poem, memorable. But royal readers had a lot of stupidness in it.
Like what?
Yeah, like what?
Well, let me tell you. The worst story was a poem. The worst poem. And since I was a little boy, I didn't have that poem. And when I read about that poem, I vex. And up to now, when I say this thing in me, I was vexed. You have a poem in the royal readers about the boy stood on the burning deck where all but he had fled. And I can't even remember more because I don't want to remember. But the long and short of it is that a father tell a boy, stay there and don't move. And the deck burning. And the boy stay right there till the deck burn with him. Everybody run where all but he had fled and he don't go nowhere. Now,
so
what
the moral of the story wasn't obedience, he was too
obedience.
Like the moral of the story is that you must be
obedient.
No matter what, but you can't be obedient no matter what. So what that taught us, in we head, that was just for us, that was for the black children.
That's some rich colonialization,
no matter what. And I never like that story.
No, I don't like it.
Yeah, but what?
For
yeah,
me,
but
that story is That story, they had to stop that.
Yeah, but that's just one. The young fella learned obedience. I mean, given he learned it the hard way.
Did he live to see?
No.
Well, he learned it the hard way.
Well, he don't learn.
But what you mean you learn? But what the father was certain of is that he taught his son a good lesson. Learn to obey. No, mind you, there's the other side of it, you know, because disobedience in a lot of cases has proven to be just as detrimental as the little fella on the burning deck, you know.
Yeah, but Godfrey, you have to measure and weigh and determine when it's time for disobedience. Disobedience are good things on them. And that is a problem that we have as black people. We believe that once you disobey things, you know, you have a little thing they say, those who disobey shall die.
Yes.
But sometimes who obey shall die, you know. Sometimes you have to be disobedient. And you know there is something called civil disobedience.
Uh-huh.
Right? No, in a lot of cases, a lot of things that we enjoy nowadays, it came because of disobedience. Otherwise, status quo and thing would never have changed. Sure. So by even Jesus, and I get a little bit of biblical thing. I mean, even Jesus, yeah? And people talk about Jesus and they talk about the Christ and what have you. And people are only, to me, people who speak these things, they only deal with the Christ. Because the Christ was this kind of holy kind of figure and so on. Mm-hmm. Right? That did good things and he was the Son of God and so on. But Jesus was not no soft guy. Jesus was no soft guy. And he dealt with civil disobedience. I mean, he dared to take on the status quo. They didn't hang Jesus, they didn't crucify Jesus because Jesus was going to heal man and all this kind of thing. You know why they crucified Jesus for? They didn't crucify man for that.
They crucified the man because the man was hailed as a king, as a savior.
He was hailed as a king, as a savior, yeah. But he was also a kind of rebel man. Yeah.
Well, mind you, when people
Jesus was a little boy. You remember your story? You said Jesus was a little boy, and when Mary and them hit the road, I don't know if they donkey where they turn the thing, they realize, hey, but with Jesus, they don't see Jesus. So they leave and they go back. When they go back, they meet Jesus in the synagogue. He chastised them fellas.
No, he didn't chastise. He was teaching them. Let me tell you when he chastised them fellas. When they go in the church and gamble, he take a rope and he go some licks on them.
So wait now, so Godfrey.
Yeah.
So me a teacher, you know, sometimes I to teach you how to chastise. Chastise don't mean beat you.
In that case, how you mean?
Straightening out man. When they talking stupidness, he used to chastise them. There's a little boy straightening them out. And that was high, man. Mm-hmm. Not me and you, the man in the synagogue, the little fella in the synagogue teaching you.
High priest and all kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I tell you.
Scholars and high priests.
Scholars and high priests. Yeah.
But let me come back. But
what do you think about the real readers?
What I think about the real reader? Yeah. Well, I would tell you that a lot of people believe that the real reader is the best thing and they should bring it back.
Bring back the real readers now?
Well, that's what a lot of people think. I mean, I have gotten that on my programs on numerous occasions.
For what?
Well, I guess but in all honesty, mind you, I agree with you. As it relates to some of the stupidness they have in there, but in terms of it did create a good foundation for development.
I agree, but right now the readers is time for that pass.
Yeah, but you see, if we don't bring back the royal reader, we're going to continue having all kind of would have, and we have to get rid of that.
So what wrong with would have?
What wrong with would have, man? You know what wrong with would have. You know what wrong with. You know what wrong with would have.
Not on we culture.
Would have is something you planned to do, but you didn't do it. So you would have done it. And Scholar know that. Scholar that teacher, you know that.
I got it to people means would have bad journey. But let me tell you, Godfrey. I spent just above a year in England, in Manchester down there, where English come out. By the Japanese people are that. Not singing as English, no. We English we would have better than the men thing or they talking it. I mean, I was thinking not near English, and I used to sing on one dance about But where the Lord is on them, I thought it's here English come out. So when men want to kill me to speak English, me don't bother them because men in England do speaking good English. Yeah, some people in England are speaking worse kind of colloquial than us.
Yeah.
And I the language.
Well, there's colloquial everywhere. But let's take a caller before we go to the break. We culture. Good evening. Hello. Hello.
Good evening. How are you?
Good. Can you turn the volume of your radio or your TV down?
Hello. Good evening.
Hello. You need to turn the volume of your radio or your TV down and listen to us on your telephone. Are you there?
It's good now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, hello.
Yes, go ahead, caller.
Yeah. Good night. Hello, good night.
Yes, good evening. Go ahead. We're hearing you.
Yeah, I heard it's mentioned Rodriguez just now. Go. I reported here you mentioned my Rodriguez. I believe in it myself.
Caller, you need to turn the volume of your radio down because it is confusing you. Okay, callers, when you call, listen to us on the telephone. Don't listen to your radio or your TV. It is going to be delayed and you'd be a little confused. All right, so let's take the break. Let's go to the break, and when we come back, we will take some more calls. So we take our final break, and then we go back to the telephone. Stay with us.
If there was ever a time to keep and stay healthy, it's now. We at Hills and Valley are here to help you take deliberate steps to maintain your health. We stayed true to maintaining the most comprehensive rates while stocking the widest range of medicines and health devices, including personal protective equipment. There are so many benefits shopping with us. You get great savings through discounts for senior citizens and reward cards for loyal customers. Ask about owning yours today. Visit us at Halifax and Grenville Street, St. George, Jubilee Street opposite the Grenville Bus Terminal, and at Hillsborough, Carriacou. Our wholesale distribution on Halifax Street also stocks the widest range of pharmaceuticals. We are with you on the hills and in the valleys. We are Hills and Valley Pharmacy.
You can now send a gift card to your loved ones locally or internationally thanks to the food fair. Here's how it works. Click the gift card icon or banner, customize your gift card by choosing from different templates, dollar amount, and personalized messages. You can also upload your personal design. Select Add to Cart and complete transaction. Allow relatives and friends to pick up an item or items at the food fair for the dollar value. Gift card. It's that easy.
Have you heard about the new Softweave bathroom tissue with total hygiene? As hygiene and safety have taken center stage, our bathroom tissue is now manufactured with 3 different technologies to offer the best protection for you and your family. UVC light technology for a safe and effective disinfection process, eliminating 99.9% of microorganisms. Also, production at high temperatures, killing all types of germs and bacteria. And it's pH controlled with delicate fibers to prevent irritation for even sensitive skin. Softweave Total Hygiene Bathroom Tissue, available in supermarkets and shops island-wide. Visit Softweave Caribbean Facebook or Instagram pages for more information.
Join GBN on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. for Interesting Grenadians, a program that showcases the lives of interesting and outstanding Grenadians at home and abroad. It's Interesting Grenadians every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on GBN. Don't you miss it.
When you need your prescription filled or you require non-prescribed medication, supplements, or all your personal needs, visit Gittins Healthcare at locations on Wall Street, Grandans, Victoria Street, Granville, and Central Deputy Street, Wall. Gittins Healthcare aims to provide an exceptional personalized pharmacy experience. Additionally, children under 5 and adults 55 years and over will enjoy 10% discount on purchases of $20 and over on prescription medication. Stop settling for less. Visit Gittins Healthcare, where your health is our priority. When a loved one passes on, we all need the comfort, support, and guidance of a trusted friend. You can rely on LaCour Brothers Funeral Home. We provide a personalized professional service that exceeds all expectations. Our dedicated staff responds to your every need with the greatest detail, ensuring affordability with a variety of options. Upgraded state-of-the-art facilities, spacious air-conditioned chapel with live internet streaming, a modern, environmentally safe crematorium, the only of its kind on island, private viewing spaces, large on-site repast center, a modern transportation fleet. Join our burial society today and make personalized arrangements for that final moment as you prepare to enter your loved one into eternal rest. Visit or call LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and select a package that brings added comfort to the entire family. LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and Burial Society, continuing a tradition of excellence.
Kindly greasy pole, and we don't dance round the maypole.
How would they come to be?
Welcome back to We Culture, and of course the telephone line is open, folks. 435-2041. That's the number you can call, and of course you can be part of the discussion this evening. All right. Reece, yeah.
Oh, all right, go on.
Yeah, I was going to tell Reece to have a look on the Facebook page and see what's happening.
Yeah, so we have Cynthia is saying one profession we cannot retire from is motherhood. Then we have Carl Thompson saying Christians have been misled by pastors and priests who earn their living by lying to children, who at an early age are indoctrinated with biblical nonsense handed down by Stone Age peasants who didn't even understand that the earth was round. We were told about Santa Claus, but then we could reason. But when we could reason for ourselves, we stopped believing. Yet we persist in believing in life after death when we know it makes no sense. Ingrid is saying it was like a culture thing, but nowadays the world is getting smarter. No, so you plan your pregnancy. I think she was saying that teenage pregnancies happen, it was a cultural thing, but now we plan. Cynthia, I do not agree with this state-sponsored institution being involved. We are aware it is not something we want, but if it happens, we just have to accept it and be supportive as much as possible. That is in no way encouraging it. As I've said, having a baby does not mean the end of our education. All that is needed is a proper support system at home and educational institutions. Then we have Jose saying, I think we need to revisit the age of consent because at 16 years, at 16 years, you're still underdeveloped as a woman. We have Cynthia saying, just like my animal farm, our viewers have segued as our host did. So we have Cynthia saying, just like my animal farm, I need a copy of my Royal Reader. Jose is asking Royal Reader tonight. I think Jose is a little confused. Did you not know I must be about my father's business? I don't know what this is about, but
nice call on Jesus.
Jose is saying the Royal Reader should be for children in ABC, first stage. Richard Holstein is saying Liverpool is one of those places, I guess like Manchester. Jose again is saying the Royal Reader was a great start for us growing up in the days. I think I think this is where Jose is telling us about our topic tonight. I think we're straying from the topic tonight. No, we in the Royal Reader. I take it on myself. Jose again, Reece like Godfrey. Forget the online people, so I will go and listen to Calypso. Reece, like Godfrey, forget the online people, so I will go and listen to Calypso. Live tent in Dominica. And then Jackie saying, I will give them some options, such as keeping the kid with family and community support, but willing to continue with their education. So I think Jackie's responding because of what she would have read earlier. She hasn't realized that the host segued.
Not necessarily, Remember, I said that was as a result of a conversation, and what they were saying was probably because of the shift in the whole curriculum. They say them train have more time because in the days of GC you had to study like. So that was the premise.
Have more time to give consent?
No, to Lime.
No. Yeah, but Godfrey, I said straight off the bat that it's a myth that the incidence of teenage pregnancy is more. The incidence of teenage pregnancy is more now than before. It's a myth.
Yeah.
It's a myth. In fact, there is less teenage pregnancy now.
I want to believe that.
I don't know. I don't know. Could it be that the reason why we think so is because not much of it is allowed to continue? I'm just asking.
Let me tell you something. You see just as how spirit and thing. You see just as how street light and electricity light chase spirit. Like the same way. Because a lot of wrong things are in the dark. But you hardly are dark now. So that's why you had more teenage pregnancy when you had more dark.
but with light, remember the increase in technology brought all of that, and with the increase in technology, a lot more is available. So my question here is, because of the lot more, the plenty more is available, it's like, okay, for example, it's like accident. You may hear the police come and say, there were 30 reported accidents in let's say a week. Mind you, that in no way says that it was 30 accidents that happened, because reported there is a significant thing. 30 reported accidents. So similarly, when scholar make the point that it is less now, okay, fine. But how do we know that the reason why we think it's less is because there are a lot, because of technology we don't know about?
Because of advances in medicines and all that.
Yeah, well, there we go.
I have to agree with you. We don't know.
I don't understand that. So what advance in tech? No, I don't understand that.
Well,
okay, I agree. Because what he's saying is that if we probably know about pregnancies before because they showed, they got to a term. They got
yes.
Now, teenage pregnancy may be happening, but it is not getting to a stage where it can show.
You know about it?
We can document it. Because we have advances in medicines.
You and Godfrey don't have no point there. What kind of point is that?
We don't have a point. We have a
point. Let me tell you something, Godfrey. You ever hear kitchen have a bad tune? Is it all of us are thief? But it's the man that us whole. What's the thief?
Yeah,
so you can say you have teenage pregnancy if you don't see pregnant. You could say that. They're not pregnancy.
So then my point about accidents doesn't hold. Doesn't make no sense.
No, that don't make sense.
All right, okay.
So when they don't hold a man thief in, is a thief then?
Yeah, but your blogger missing.
No, you know.
But your blogger missing.
He doesn't get caught yet. He doesn't get caught yet.
Hold on. Thief, pregnancy, all these things are them. That and them is in the eyes of people. You know they say everything you do, God know. So that and them is not between you and God. That and them is between you and people. So if you thief and nobody don't hold you, you don't know. God knows you're a thief based on things, but I know that.
No. I don't agree with you. Hold on. Let's go to the telephone. I will come back to you. We culture. Good evening. Hello. Caller, can you turn the volume of your radio or TV down, please, and listen to us on your telephone? Turn down your volume.
Good evening.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Enjoy hearing your voice.
Okay, we have to continue. Callers, please, I'm begging you. When you call, listen to us on your telephone, not on your TV or your radio. You are going to be confused because it is delayed. So listen to us on your telephone and we'll be able to have a proper conversation. All right?
No, I don't hear that. I find they need to advance this technology.
Yeah, that technology.
Somebody can try it, okay? Turn down your radio. Caller, please turn down your radio and listen to us on the telephone. See, somebody can try. You don't have technology for that?
Yeah. Godfrey, all you would have been playing the fool.
No. But mind you, the delay has its purpose.
Of course.
The delay does have its purpose. So, because there are those among us who can just, get on. And so the delay is in place.
Don't try that. We don't monitor that. American media does monitor that.
Well, that's why you have the delay in place. Let's go back to the telephone. We culture. Good evening. I think we have a jinx in the phone tonight.
There's something wrong.
Yeah, you have a jinx in the phone. No, I don't understand what's going on. The next thing. Let's try again and see what's happening. We culture. Good evening.
Yeah, night, gentlemen.
Yes, good evening.
And the queen across there. Yeah, what time in school time? I went to school in 6 Sunday myself. as a boy and thing. But the Reader helped a lot of people in the days gone by. In the only time gone by, there was a Reader book, then they come to Cabin Reader, Brandon Sea, and Butchery Island, the game Feather to Fly, and last to it, you know. And it changed. I mean, when you read the Reader book in the days gone by, who been in school in time gone by, you call yourself a university lecturer, you will call yourself a high school. It's good knowledge to get in them time, you know, and children, people just be in school more longer in the days, in the 60s and things, stay in school for a longer period than nowadays. Children nowadays live in school, not very turned twice, the young they live in school. Not so, you know what, in this time I know, in the 60s and things, big men in school still, the same children are in the school, come and teach in the school too, when teacher send them take out the class. Big men, they change from the school, you go where you want to go. Knowledge and thing is very good. I mean, even the exact book anyway they write in the past about twice, 7, 12, and 12, 144. I 68 years now, and that's still an exact book still. And my mother said that same thing in the days going by. That's still over 200 years. Twice, 7, 12, 144, still an exact book. So if modernizing nation, I mean, things coming in the world today. Computer science and coming in. But there's nothing better than black and white, you know. Black and white is one of the best thing to have as a standby for when malfunction thing take place. I mean, a laptop they mightn't be for everlasting. As they bring in they want to bring it into say technology. So if something happens in the sky, there's a satellite, what's up in the sky? Something happens in the satellite. Everything malfunctions on the earth, you know. If bad weather passing, that could dismantle. You know, so we have to prepare for black and white too. It's true that technology is true, but get black and white for a backup. Technology is good. I ain't saying no more about it. The world mad right now and crazy. Radiation from them things we're getting from them modern things, you know, is harmful for mankind. You can't see all the television for too long doing all the screaming, okay? You harm by your eyes and all they tell you. All them things is harmful. It's good, but it's bad, you know, man. The radiation is high. Even a simple cell phone and all you have. It's high. Children are right to play cell phone, you know. Little children. But parents give them to play with. It's high radiation is that thing to lick, you know, disease, cancer, and, you know, all them things is good, but you're not healthy. You're not healthy for mankind. You know? But the modern world has the world messed up right now.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, indeed. 435-2041. That's the number you can call. Reece, any more? You have any other comments on Facebook that we can take before we go back to the telephone?
We have a couple. Ingrid is saying scholar is right. Jose is saying, I remember in one of the states in the USA, there was about 6 teenagers who were trying to get pregnant together for the summer. And Maria is saying the technology for that is the cut-off button, Godfrey. Jose is saying, I think in the USA, it's on the rise in teenage pregnancy. Going to School by Miss Redhead. In the days, the Royal Reader was a book she used all the time. So that's what I'm seeing here.
All right, let's go back to
Hold on, we had on the We Culture platform, Ria Batiste was asking, is there anything in the Education Act or anywhere else that says if a student gets pregnant in school, she has to drop out? Nope. And she's also saying it's not supposed to be confusing when someone in Grenadian dialect says, I would have go to work yesterday. We know he did not go, but when people say I would have gone to work yesterday and they mean they actually went, it becomes confusing. We use tenses correctly in our dialect and we should use it correctly in standard English too. So that's our contribution.
All right, let's go back to the telephone. We Culture, good evening. Hello. Hello. All right, 435-2041. That's the number you can call. I'm not saying it again. I ain't saying it again. I've said it. Yeah, I've said it. I've said it enough. I don't know why we're not hearing it, but clearly, I think I've said it enough. 435-2041. That's the number you can call, and you can get to make your contribution. All right. Scholar, you were going to make a point just now when with the comment that Reece was making. I saw you.
Well, not a comment, but what we see, because I think I said that last week. There is no way that this thing is written, that when a girl becomes pregnant, she has to drop out from school. That's not written anywhere. there's no legal thing to this thing. It's just a cultural norm.
Conservative nature.
Yeah, that's what happens. The girl knows that you go to school, you could be ridiculed, you could be what? Teachers will tell you, now you can't come, people will watch you, so and so and so and so. So it's something that we grew up with, we learn, we understand, and it just happens. But there's nothing really that says in writing somewhere in law that if you become pregnant, you have to drop off some school. There's nothing written that says that. You see, and that's.
But could it be? I mean, you remember, like, it's only in recent times because a lot of the education institutions were owned by churches. Some still are, and I guess a lot of them they have the say in what happens.
Yeah, because even in some churches, when girls get pregnant or even unmarried women get pregnant, they have to sit at the back of the church.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that stigma with pregnancy and women in particular, it just continues. And the truth is, nobody cares about who the man is. The man could be right in the same church there, but the woman feels the brunt of it.
Well, usually the man in the same church there.
Yeah.
Monday.
The man did the same judge.
Society is what the way we think, the way we perceive things, and the way we handle it is what is having these teenage situations happening where they feel like their life is over, and it's hard for them to pick up the pieces because that is how we look at it. And I would like to purport that if we treat with those things differently, we would not have to have to talk about who lost their life because of bush doctors or doing ridiculous things to get rid of babies, or like in recently, one being found on the houseway, and we wouldn't have these situations if we treat with them differently and we have the proper institutions and the institutional laws to govern these things as to how is it that we treat with those things. It should not be treated as an abominable sin.
Let's go back to the telephone. Yeah, let's go back to the telephone. We culture, good evening. Hello. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
I've been listening to your program for a few minutes, and it seems your topic says pregnancy among young girls in school. And it seems like that's a very vague topic. Because young girls, are you talking about young girls who are underage or just young girls? Because you're going all over the board. Young girls who are underage, it seems they get pregnant in school because one of the teachers have molested them, or they had a situation where they got in something. And you guys are not addressing the specific topic. You're going here, there, and there. I mean, if a young girl in school is pregnant and she's underage, then maybe the authorities have to get involved and we have to figure out how to deal with that young girl and how she gets her education. And maybe we should not put that child in a category that says that she's wrong and we are accusing her because she's pregnant. She may have been abused, or maybe she was just, crooked in the neighborhood. But I think you guys seem to be skirting the issue all back and forth and back and forth. You don't have a specific topic or a specific area that you go into. I wish you would just stay focused on how do we deal with young girls being pregnant in schools? You know, do we give them a separate education? Do we send them to a separate school? Do we continue to have them go to school regularly? And I think you got me confused. I've been looking at it for a while, and I'm really confused about what you're talking about. Thank you very much. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much indeed. 435-2041. That's the number you can call, and of course you can make your contribution. All right, let's go back to the telephone. We culture. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Hello?
Yes, good evening. Go ahead.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes. I would like to speak about about children going to school. Yes. Good evening. We got some children that are going to school. Their parents do not know anything about the child. They never tell the child anything because the parents themselves, the mothers, never told them anything. So these children grow up to be wild at school. They go to school, they don't know anything. People ask them a question, they don't know when to say no or yes or whatnot. And hence the reason why we have lots of children that go to school and become pregnant at an early age.
Okay, thank you very much.
Then what we have is young we speak about reading. The Royal Reader is the best book that we had at school because you learned a lot from the Royal Reader instead of the West Indian Reader and these other books that we just started.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed, caller. Reece, that was something we touched earlier. The whole issue of supervision. And the caller just touched on it there a little bit. Is it a fair statement to say that's why you have so many young girls pregnant in school?
Listen, supervision is not simple as, the parent isn't around, or the parent refused to be around or anything like that, It is not necessarily a blame on the parents, but yes, supervision, if a child is not adequately supervised, then they can find themselves, becoming interested in things that they're not supposed to be interested in at a certain age. But, there are countries who are choosing to lessen on the number of working hours in a day, right, for parents so that they can go home and spend more time with their children. There's a reason for these things. A lot of us parents, we work 8-hour jobs, and 8-hour jobs mean preparing about 2 hours before and taking about an hour or two to get back home. So our children, right, those who probably, like in the recent pandemic, we had to leave our children at home to go to work. We were not allowed to bring our children to the workplace with us. Okay? So you had days and weeks and months of children being unsupervised. What can happen? So do we just blame the parents and say, it's because of you? Or do we blame the system and say because of you, the parents were forced to do this and that, whatever? It's an episode of where we have to have a lot of stick-to-itiveness. We have to stick to how is it that we decide that we are going to supervise our children, how we're going to manage them. We have to stick to the rules we put on them, checking up on them. We cannot lapse. And that whole thing there is a job in itself. Motherhood is a job. It's the hardest job anybody can do as far as I'm concerned. So yes, supervision has a part to play in it, but in some cases, what can we do? Or what is it that we haven't done? because you still see those things happening.
Interestingly, scholar, does peer pressure have anything to do with that there?
It's a conundrum of things. I mean, the supervision is one, peer pressure is one. All of them contribute. There are various social things that you put in the mix that is responsible for this. And you spoke of the technology. Children are more exposed now. So they see things, and then you just have some other children, because you have some children, mind you, and that's the funny thing, that there are always exceptions and so on to the rules. There are some children that are under strict supervision and they go and get pregnant. It happens, yeah. And then you have some again what go even doesn't see their parents and they stay in the course. Yeah. So by it's a number of different factors that would come together to cause this thing. You know, I hear one caller, a caller called just now. I think he was not he didn't listen last week.
Clearly, yeah.
Clearly he didn't listen last week. But one of the things that he said that struck me was when the little underage girls get pregnant, is it a teacher? I don't know what a man can buy that bold statement. I mean, to make a blanket statement like that.
No, you see, you have to understand, Scholar, there are some people who are authority and everything, eh?
Well, I don't know, but
someone is saying here, poverty and single parenting is the main cause of teenage pregnancy in Grenada, and some of the mothers, because the man giving them money, he's allowed to have sex with their daughter. I've seen it in my school days, and I'm seeing it in my neighborhood. Powerful statement.
Very powerful. All that helps. Yeah, poverty is a very, very strong thing.
Yep.
And when yeah. So as I said, it's a number of social things, social issues that could cause that, and they are well documented. They didn't book and so on. Socialists, sociologists, something write about all of these things. So they are in books, and these are well researched and experimented upon and so on, and so those things are almost what you call social facts. You know, that this is what happens. So
let's go back to the telephone. We Culture. Good evening.
Yes, Godfrey.
Good evening.
Now, on the topic of teenage pregnancy or child pregnancy or young girls pregnancy, whatever, regardless of how that child or that young person is pregnant, when it happens, if that person is still at school, if it happens, then there should be a school that has to be developed for such children. I do not think it would be nice or right to have them in the same school with the other children, regardless of whether the child was raped or was immoral or whatever the cause. That should not be considered too much what is the cause. The fact is the person is pregnant and they should have a different school, not the regular school. I don't agree that they should not have the education. They need to have the education, but they should know the time. If it is prevalent, then there should be a school where, when that happens, that's where they go, not in the same regular school as non-pregnant students.
Caller, just don't go yet. Let me just ask you.
Is my cell phone calling from you?
Yeah, quickly. No. So you said that they should not be in the same school, but you haven't given a reason. Why do you think?
No. Because you see, a pregnancy, you are an adult. You are a big person. You're not normal like everybody else. This is a normal thing. You become an adult. You become a parent. And I believe it would have a bad influence on other children. Why do they molest them when they go back to the same school? Why do they taunt them? Why do they tell them things? Why do they, So both sides, it is not feasible. It should not be. Once you get pregnant, If you're going to Hindley, you should go to that pregnancy school. You should not stay in Hindley. You are a pregnant person. You're an adult. You're a mother. A mother-to-be. And we don't have mothers as students in primary schools and in some secondary schools. I believe that has been a long talk, not now that I'm hearing this. There should be a separate school for children who got pregnant during school time. And that would maybe save all the abortions that are taking place, because abortion is murder. Is murder. And people don't talk, they tell you about it, but they don't talk about the psychological effect it has. I have heard people, I heard people who had abortions when they were children, young, and they got pregnant, they didn't bring the child, they did what and what. And it had a psychological effect on them. Took them to never have another child. Right? So we could save the abortion, having people to go and kill a baby that had nothing to do with what you do and nothing to do with your circumstances, but that child is murdered because of shame, because the father don't want to know who the father is, all kinds of different things. So I am saying once a person gets pregnant, abortion should not be any way considered, and that child should be put in a school where they could continue their education, separate from the regular one.
Thank you very much indeed.
Godfrey, we are going back to the discussion that we had last week, because we were talking about this last week as well. What constitutes an adult? The caller keeps saying you are an adult, you're a mother-to-be, you're a mother. What is an adult? So once I don't have a baby, I'm not an adult. Once I'm not pregnant, I'm not an adult. When did pregnancy become a criteria for whether you're a child or you're an adult? So the person who is raped was forced into becoming an adult. They're no longer a child, robbed of their innocence, still a child, don't know what is happening to them. You're dubbing them as an adult. That is unfair. That is wrong. And that is part of the problem. The way how I heard a caller stressing on, you're pregnant, it is an abominable sin. And you know what? There are probably children right now listening to this program and crying long tears, knowing that we are adults and we are speaking about them in that way, not knowing their onions, not knowing what has caused them to be in that state, and they are just feeling like their life is over. And there comes that vicious cycle of poverty, because they are now forced into this where they are not an adult, so they are not going to get a job, they are not working anywhere, they are a child, they are having a baby, they don't know what's going on, they have to find for a child, they have to find for themselves, they have to walk the 8 mile, the long road of shame all the way up to the hospital, and then they are forced out of school, they have to do everything on their own, and here you have a child trying to grow a child, and what do you expect to happen? That child would have a child too, because it's a vicious cycle. How we treat those things. How could we, in our own conscience, look at an 11-year-old, a 12-year-old who got pregnant and say you're an adult? That makes absolutely no sense.
Scholar, what's your
Yeah, well spoke. Is he well spoke? I mean, come on, man. You have anywhere? Well, I don't know if it's the Bible would say that, but I've always heard. They say that. I don't know if it's the last days or I don't know what, because they always say about the last days. When they the last days. The last days is a long time, not days. Not days, but they always say the last days, children will make children. I don't know if that day anyway, right? Somebody say that, but you always hear this thing about children make children, right? It means, therefore, that the children, the people who are making the children, are children. Yeah. And it does not say, I would have understood if it said, children will become adults and make children. But he said children making children, which means that even though you make child, you could still be a child.
You see, and that's what confuses me a lot about the teachings of Christianity, because I can tell you that's the kind of teachings you get from that kind of lines, you know, and it's worrying. It is worrying, very, very worrying, you know. Let's go back to the telephone though. We Culture, good evening. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, caller.
Good evening. Yes, I'm hearing a word being used regularly in the program. Abominable sin. I would like to know what does that really mean. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Reece, you want to answer that?
Yes, I can answer it. It is something that we say very loosely, like, you know, it's like, it's the ultimate, is the worst thing in the eyes of society that anyone can do. It is criminal. It is the worst thing. And that is why we keep saying it. We act as if like this is an abominable sin. And pregnancy is not the worst thing. There are people who are trying. What we are talking about here are teenagers in school. And that is for the very polished caller who called before and was speaking about how we are not sticking with any topic or we are all over the place. The topic is about teenagers becoming pregnant in school. And last week we discussed that a lot. I think, Scholar, you needed to follow up with us on what did you say was the age based on the Constitution about how long someone can stay in school for? Is it up to 21?
It's 20.
20. Right. And even last week we were saying that. Why is it that you have the age of consent being 16 when you know that a child at the age of 16 will more than likely be in school still? At the age of 18, they would still be in school. So why is it that you're telling them you can go ahead and consent and have sex, and then when pregnancy, the consequence of it happen, you treat them, and I'm going to say it again, like it's an act, it's an abominable sin. Why?
Let's go back to the telephone. We Culture, good evening. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yes,
sorry.
Good evening.
Gentlemen. I apologize. I did not catch your show last week, so I could not respond to that. But your female host is right on point. Pregnancy should not be treated as a disease. We do not need to segregate a child when she's being pregnant and put in a separate school or separate whatever like that. The child needs to be educated. And we need to treat the reason why she gets pregnant as a legal matter, whatever, but we should not treat them as though they're diseased and they need to be separated and need to be stay away and stuff like that. That is wrong. A child, if she's pregnant, she's still a child. She may not understand what's going on with her body. She may not understand what's going on. She was probably raped or whatever. But we need to treat her as though she's a child and she's pregnant. You know, and then we need to give special education. I'm sorry I didn't get the show last week, so I'm way off board, but that female host is right on point. I agree with her 100%. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much indeed. You know, a very interesting comment on the WhatsApp platform here. Someone says, "Good night, Godfrey. I want you and the team to look back at our grandparents and see when they had their first child." Scholar, I think you made a reference to that earlier.
Yeah, I'm telling you that.
Age 16.
I'll tell you that. They used to make children earlier.
Yeah.
And mind you, they used to marry early too.
Yep, and listen, by age 25, they're finished now. But it's a lot.
A lot. A bungle, a titty ban, a spring ban. Yeah.
A lot. And by age 25, and you think they're old. They're old people at 25 because they're married, they have children. Yes.
Yeah, it's they used to make a lot of children at an early, very, very early age.
Yep, indeed. And you see, and there's an interesting thing, as as we learn more, as time go by and we learn more, as more research is done and more information is made available, we understand a lot of things. In the old days, a lot of these people, there are a lot of things that they didn't understand. A lot of things they did not understand. You know, I don't know if I told you all this once when we spoke about phobia and whatever and so, but I had a friend who was ill. And she was, up in age. In those days, probably middle to about 50 thereabout, up there. And she was ill. And no matter what she did, she could not get better. And decided to go by what we call the see a man. Lo and behold, she was pregnant and did not know. And I'm saying that to say, you had all of that happening in the old days. A lot of people that didn't know. You have sex, fine. And I also believe that even in those days, it's a sort of a stain that some women then thought that was their role. So the man, you go on your walk, you bring home money, and your role is to cook and to provide sex. And the joy of it, they don't understand, they don't know about that. But as time went on and the science started to reveal different things, we learned and so on and so forth. And that's why I made the point earlier and gave the example of reported accidents, which scholar debunked. But anyway, let's go back to the telephone. We culture, good evening. Hello?
Hi.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, hello?
Yes, caller, go ahead, please.
Okay, we're looking at what is going on now. Pregnancy in school. You have to look at it in both ways, That child who became pregnant despite of the condition of what is going on, you have to check on the students, her friends. She will not be thinking, despite of the what had happened to her. You have to remember her peers, her discussion, the way how she see life, the way how she have to think in preparation for that child. It's a new era for that poor child. It's not that it should not be brought on to that child with stigma, but sadly that child have to move on to the new era as a parent. So what should be happening? If the child is taken to a foster home, the parent of that child decides to take on the role of a parent and set that child free. There's a lot going on. That's why we have to take into consideration more seriously as to what had occurred before that child become pregnant. The way that child thinking, is that child really innocent? What brought on that child before pregnancy? Was he tutored by some elderly persons, as we say, as the discussion was on now? Now, as the Bible said, and I'm standing to correction with that one, we should not go to bed with another unless marriage, because they know what is before us after we become pregnant, that we need that support mentally and otherwise. And it's a whole lot of consideration. Now, if it's the male partner was quite young, he too should have been tutored at a young age not to have sex at that early age because of what he may cause to that female partner. And the whole life is on the roll. So it's not a matter of taking the child out of the school and having her rerouted, but if you look at the destruction, It's a really destruction. It's like picking a fruit at an early time of the crop. You ever go to the market and you see a young source up for sale? Destruction. And this topic, is not laughable. You're looking at a child with a whole heart in her hand, and for the rest of her life, she has a story to tell. Whether it may be a joyous one for her because it may be her partner is compatible. Look at the parent. He's a total mess. You look at the parent and they probably were looking towards that child to lead them out of poverty. And then you go again, that child back into deeper poverty because of some vagabond somewhere wanted to ease himself. And that poor child is to suffer for the rest of her life. And that's why you see some parents go to jungle justice, because they don't get any responsibility from our government and those who are there to shoulder that burden. You go to the court and there's a stigma. You go to the villagers, there's a stigma. Again, they say it takes a village to grow a child. Just only this week, one man told me, looked at my daughter and said to me, he said to me, he said, I'm looking at your daughter, but she's not making no connection with me. And then I keep on looking at the guy. He took a spliff out, he rolled it up, and he started smoking. And look at my child, my child. And he said he's trying to make connection, and he contacted me. You see the disrespect? And that's why you see when people may seek jungle justice, because the law don't support us. The law don't support serious children. The law don't support serious parents. And that's why we are out for joke in this world, spinning around and around and around and talking, which now provides anger. It provides anger in me. It brings anger because I see beautiful girls who fall trap to the same deeds. The parents is fighting hard to get out of poverty, looking towards that child to become something, and some vagabond in a corner looking to destroy the future of that child. And they don't even know what they're doing because they are not educated, and they're bringing the world down with them. And that poor child who is, greed. Sometimes the child is just greedy, a piece of KFC and a little money that can do nothing for them. And they under that guy. They can't even stand the scent of that man, but they're below that man. May God help us, because I believe in jungle justice. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much indeed. Wow.
Wow. Wow, right? Can we take some comments?
Yes, sure, definitely.
So we have Maria is saying, woman taking all the blame in church, man not saying a word. Jose is saying, Reece, they have to pay at the back of the church. Maybe they're not paying their tithe in church. Carl is saying, get that woman off the line. Jose is saying, maybe the caller wasn't listening last week because this is a continuation of last Friday's topic. We have Jillian Claudia is saying, when girls are prevented from continuing their education, when they become pregnant, it can put a strain on the entire country. They often are dependent on government assistance, which is largely provided through taxes paid by citizens. I know of a school that allowed these girls to return to school. Recently, one of them received 11 CXC passes with excellent grades. She is very focused as is now preparing to start her university education. Such girls will need a lot of support, but a second chance would benefit everyone. I concur. Jose is saying, I think a child dropping off when pregnant because some parents always saying to their girls, when you get pregnant, you're not living in this house. So the child tends to hide until it starts to show. Jackie agreed with Scholar on what he was saying. Then we have Jose saying, then that child becomes a statistic. Jamal Courtney saying, I personally don't see a problem with them going to the same school. Maria is saying the stigma of shaming the girls, boys are allowed to continue their lives. Cynthia is saying, thought she was calling. Okay, no. Jose is saying, we in the election season, so these are the questions we should be asking the politicians if they want our votes. Jamal is saying, well said, Ms. Sam. Jackie, good point, Reece. Cynthia is saying, if you did not get married by 21, something was wrong with you. We have Jose saying, why Christians always try to make people think that God hate this, hate that. I thought God is a forgiving God, but Christians always make God so upset with the whole world, even teenage pregnancy. Pat Will is saying, I am the product of a teenage mother in the late 1960s. My mom was 15 then. Yes, it was an abominable sin then. Today, I am making a great contribution to my community and the Grenada by extension. She went through hell and back. When she became pregnant with me, I picked up from where she left off. Jose is saying, I think when a child is pregnant, the community should embarrass her and should not embarrass her and encourage that child. That is not the end of her life, but to start with another life at hand. And he's also saying, if we talk in sin, we should start with the minister who said at 16 years, you can give consent. So the minister went against the Bible on marriage. I agree with you, Jose. Let me see. We have Ria Batista saying, children making children is nowhere in the Bible. People made up that saying. Yeah.
there is a comment on the WhatsApp platform here. The lady says, good night. I was in college and got pregnant for a man when I was 19. But the man is not being responsible for his child because the child is autistic. Should I jail the man for not being a responsible father? Just an advice on that, because it was a long time from now. Any advice?
Godfrey, I don't pull out your book. You don't have a book. Pull out your readers.
You know nothing in the reader about that. Let me see. Someone says, Godfrey, I think more effort needs to be placed on changing the stigma that our Grenadian people have on such integral topics. I'm saddened hearing the way we think and behave towards these topics. We tend to penalize the young ladies and not the young men. The schools need to teach proper sex education and be bold about it. Yeah, I do think so. Someone says here, Reece, you cannot say it better because when these people cry you down when you're pregnant, that is what leads to abortion. So when we're stressing murder, sometime as adult, we create the problem. Christianity is not to blame, or Christianity should not blame pregnancy as sin. Sin is thou shalt not commit fornication, but that's why God forgives 70 times 7. So Reece, you on point. Is there? Yeah. So that's about it from. Right, there's one more. Hi Godfrey, parents have part to play too, because they need to investigate their child when they come from school and when they go into school. Someone says this caller is so correct. Proper parenting does not deter a pregnancy. A lack of parenting does not deter a pregnancy because older boys and grown men can take advantage and spoil your girl child. A pregnancy should be redefined to be a pregnancy is of a girl and boy or girl and man, and should both be responsible as they are both pregnant and should be treated equally. Sex education from an early age can help. So that's all that's on the WhatsApp platform, and actually that has taken us to the end of the time that we have. So closing comments, Reece, start with you.
Godfrey, I guess we are not going to be continuing this topic next week. So we are definitely doing closing comments tonight.
Yeah.
We didn't do it last week, and Doc is missing his opportunity to do it as well. But teenage pregnancy is not new to us. The way we handle the situations is not new to us either. That is why in the year 2022, it is such a topical, highly opinionated topic. And it is sad that a lot of what is discussed is focused mostly on the girls. The girls. They are the one that feel everything. They are the one that determines our society. Most single parents are mothers. We are the contributors of the type of society that we have. When we treat teenage girls that way, we are already setting them up and setting up our society to have more failures, to have more teenage pregnancies, to have more disenfranchised youth, to have more jailbirds, to have more criminals. That is what we are doing. We need to change our approach. It is not a sin despised by God. It is not an abominable sin. For the caller who spoke of abortions being murder, if you believe that abortion is murder, then we should try our best to not lead our young girls to commit murder by understanding their situation, assisting them to be their best self. If I know of somebody in my neighborhood right now that I know has to drop out of school because they have become pregnant, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to that child and affirm to her, you are going to get through this. You are going to go back to school. You are going to be someone great because you are capable. That is what I'm going to affirm. I am going to help. That is what I'm going to do. I am not going to further punish her, contribute to all the stigma and all that she has to go through. Just with the naturalness of pregnancy, I am not going to be part of the problem. I'm going to be part of the solution. And we need to do this. We need to have more success stories of, I was a teenage mother and look at me today. That's what we need to have. Not I was a teenage mother and up to now I am still reaping the repercussions, the consequences of that. No, that is not the way to go. And I do not agree that they should be sent to separate institutions and all of that, because I believe that there is valuable learnings for the children that are in school and are not pregnant. I believe that. I firmly believe that. And we have heard testimonies of how these children who are not pregnant and are in school are helping the one or two children that happen to have gotten the chance to come back. We've heard the testimonies. I believe that they would witness what is it that this child who is now a parent has to go through, right? And don't want it for themselves. I think there are lessons to be learned. The lesson that they are learning right now is that I am passing on a bus and I see this girl that used to go to school with me and she's in a green and white uniform. Oh, she going to PAM. That means she had a child. And already we see them as low class. That needs to stop. That kind of thinking needs to stop. And that is my contribution tonight.
Thank you, Reece. Scores?
Yeah, well, it was an interesting discussion. 2 weeks of it. And I had envisaged that it would be all that it has been. It's a cultural thing, really. And probably this is where we push for cultural changes. Sometimes our culture would have to keep up with the times, and maybe this is where we have to push, because the truth is that while culturally it is such a not something and people would start pointing towards morality, people would point towards the Bible, people would point towards the shaming, people would point towards the fact that it is not a good example for the other children and so on. I know for a fact, I am not standing, I'm sitting here, and I have the proof, really, that we are making much ado about this thing, when in truth and in fact, I have seen it work. I have seen it work for years, for more than 15 years. I've seen this thing work. I have taught pregnant girls in the school system. I have helped pregnant girls, and I gave the situation where we would have had to transport a young lady who had her baby the night and had to come up to the school to get to English and go back down. And this one is classic. And if this can happen, I know, because I have full evidence, it was there, that they are not differently by the other children, as is the fear among us. It's much ado. You know. Sometimes when I listen to these fears and what will happen and what could happen and so on, it always reminds me of something that I heard from a teacher of mine. There was a man once, he wanted to learn his neighbor's spade. So he leave going to get his spade. But while he going, he's speaking to himself, and he telling himself, boy, next thing I go and I tell the man I want the spade learn. And the man might say, boy, you can buy a spade. You're always doing that, you're too cheap. Man, you must buy a spade, man. Always come in and lend me thing. And he telling him that he sell these things. So by the time he reach by the man and he knock on the door, co. And the band neighbor come out and the neighbor ask what you want. You know what he tell him, neighbor? Man, I don't want your damn spade again, man. The mind is the anticipation, and anticipating things that are not happening and more than likely would not happen. So it was an interesting discussion, and I believe, because I just saw something where they say they were having a town hall meeting about the same issue. So it's an important issue that we have just looked at, an important cultural issue, and this is what we culture is about. We put these issues and topics that others may not want to discuss, and we put it out there for discussion. There is no big right or wrong in this thing, really, but we can see the trends, and when you hear how Reece was passionate about what she believed in, I would not go against what Reece believed, because it might be an abominable sin. The wrath of God may pour down upon you. It might be an abominable sin.
What is so terrible?
Guys, I thank you all so very much. Let me just say in closing, though, that I do not believe anyone or any child should be robbed of the education, and I don't think pregnancy should be a reason. I cannot see that being a reason why. In fact, I used to have a very good friend. She's now traveled many years, and I think lives in the US, who got pregnant in school was allowed to finish and did extremely well at her exams. GC in those days, now lives in the States, and is doing very, very well. The child is grown, a wonderful young man, handsome young man, and doing well. And it goes to show that when people are given the opportunity, look, and let me say this to the Christians, the very same Bible that you believe in. I remember the story of the woman, I think she was it a prostitute? And they wanted to stone her to death. And then when Jesus came and he said to them, "Those among you without sin, cast the first stone." And he bent down and he wrote in the dirt. And by the time he came back up, they were all gone. I think sometimes we confuse what is written in the Bible and we use it conveniently for our purpose. That is wrong. It is wrong. I don't think it is anyone's right to pass judgment upon anyone. The same book, Bible, also says, I think in the book of Matthew, judge not that ye be not judged. Alright? The same Bible say, Jesus Christ didn't come for the righteous, but he came for sinners. So it is not a good thing to pass judgment on people and to deny people of their right because, and in this case, a young girl getting pregnant. I think what needs to happen is that the perpetrators or the people who have done the injustice should be found, effort should be made to find them, and the matter should be dealt with accordingly. And I've heard callers made very bold statement. One say he had to be a teacher or somebody else. We spoke about that earlier. I would tread very carefully there. Yes, there are those among us who probably have done things that should not happen, but you don't want to go passing judgment, because everything, you have to look at things. But nevertheless, I believe that they should be allowed the opportunity to continue their education, and by allowing them, they will not be part of the culture that would be bringing what the very same people who have criticized and lambasted and shamed, these people are the same one who would be referring to that child that she brings as the scum of the earth. I know it. Because she wouldn't be in a position to teach that child anything. So what are you bringing forth? So I think it is something that needs to be addressed. Scholar, you spoke about the town hall meeting. Yes, it happened last evening at around 6:30. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend. But these are things that we need to look at seriously and put in place. And we culture is going to continue to touch those issues and put them out there so we can think on them. Thank you very much for your calls, your contribution. Our Facebook friends, we thank you very much indeed for all your comments and your contribution to the program. I want to encourage you to follow the We Culture page. We will be making every effort. Reece will be making every effort to put the post out there, and of course some of the topics that we'll be discussing. So follow the We Culture page, like the page, share the page, and get the information there. So thank you very much. Have a good night and enjoy your weekend.
Raise it high up the ladder, let we set it on fire. A little more calypso, forget the funk and the disco.